What's going on, guys? So in this one, we're doing a bit of time traveling, because in our coverage of Marvel's Godzilla vs. one-shots, the only one we haven't covered so far is Fantastic Four. And with this one taking place in the 60s, I'll be sure to slide this one to the top of the playlist, so that the Godzilla vs. Hulk, Spider-Man, and X-Men one-shots are all in order. And I got the full playlist in the description for anyone who wants to just take it from the top and watch all the way through. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so hopping right into Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four. This takes place in your mid to late 60s, not long after Fantastic Four issue 50, and we'll talk more about that as the story continues. Just know at this point, the Fantastic Four has had their powers for quite a while, but right now we pick up with the team at the Baxter building, rushing to the Fantastic Car, after getting the news over the radio about Godzilla making his way to New York. And as they make their way, we're given a brief flashback that shows us there was another attack before this in Tokyo. And though the Fantastic Four tried to make it out there to help, they weren't able to arrive in time. But before they arrived, the Dr. Daisuke was able to defeat Godzilla by using a device he created called an oxygen destroyer, though this came at the cost of his own life. And for a while, it was believed to have been a permanent solution for stopping Godzilla, at least until Godzilla was heading towards New York. And as the Fantastic Four gets ready to confront Godzilla, there are a couple things I want to point out here, with the first being all of the lightning that's filling the sky, because we'll find out in a moment why that's the case. But I also want you to keep in mind that in most cases when Godzilla shows up, there's a reason behind it, which usually goes along the lines of Godzilla restoring the natural order of whatever world he's being depicted in. But in the here and now, when the Fantastic Four gets ready to face Godzilla, everyone here, except for Sue, everyone here is like, oh, this is going to be quick work. But in Sue's case, her first thought is that she doesn't want what happened in Tokyo to happen here. But with everyone else, Reed, Ben, Johnny, they're all just like, this is gonna be quick. So Ben gets the clobbering by smacking Godzilla in the eye. Sue joins in with her force field blast. Johnny comes through with his fireballs. As Ben continues to clobber, Reed stretches himself out to make a huge fist that he's most certain will be the final hit to take Godzilla down. And their combined efforts are enough to knock Godzilla off his feet, which at first has been like, okay, this monster looks a lot tougher than what it actually is. But just after this, Godzilla charges up, just before blasting them with his atomic breath, or heat ray as it's called in this issue. And just in the nick of time, Sue's able to protect the team by using her invisible shields, which prevent this moment from being the shortest Godzilla versus we've ever seen. And next, as Godzilla makes its way into the city, the Fantastic Four kind of has this moment where they're like, yeah, yo, we almost died just now. Because even with that shield taking everything Sue had to hold up, these guys were still hit hard. So it's a good thing that Sue's the only one that wasn't overconfident going into this. But right now, as much as Reed would like to recommend that they go somewhere and recover and undergo treatment for radiation exposure, he knows that right now they just don't have the time. Because with Godzilla having already reached New York, he's just walking through buildings that haven't been fully evacuated yet. So next, Reed calls down the Fantastic Car from its holding position, and he lets the others know that he has an idea. But it's not going to be easy, and the cost may well be catastrophic. And when he says this, Ben notices that they're heading back to the Baxter building. So Reed tells them that his plan is to take the entire New York State power grid and feed it into the Baxter building. So when Godzilla takes the building down, it'll neutralize him. And Reed understands with how little time they have, this is basically a death sentence, because he'll still be inside the Baxter building when it goes down. So right away, everyone in the first family's like, nah, we can't let you do that. So everyone starts making suggestions on how they could help. Because Ben's strength will surely come in handy when the building starts to drop on top of Reed. Sue can use her force fields, Johnny can melt away some of the debris, but even still Reed tells them no because he doesn't want them to risk their lives. But Sue makes an even better point here, and really it's more than one. Because for starters, they don't have time to argue about this. And secondly, her, Johnny, and Ben, they would much rather all four of them pull this off together and have the possibility of survival than to have Reed do it by himself with the guarantee of a fatal outcome. So Reed reluctantly agrees, and they get to work. So they time it just right with Ben and Reed creating contact between the electrical mains and the interior building supports, while Sue waits to the last minute to release the charge, with Johnny letting them know when Godzilla's close. And it all comes together because as soon as Godzilla hits the building, he gets hit with a full New York State power grid, which takes a lot out of him. And it takes a lot out of the Fantastic Four too. But as they climb up out of the wreckage, Reed notices that the rain and the lightning has stopped. But he's not sure if that was something that was connected to Godzilla. But they find out pretty soon, because next Ben points out what's happening with the skies now, with the lightning being replaced with flames. And the last time they saw something like this was when the Watcher was trying to disguise the Earth and hide it from Galactus. And this has them like, wait, okay, that can't be the case, because the Silver Surfer is no longer the herald of Galactus, which right here gives us a direct reference to Fantastic Four issue 50, when the Silver Surfer tried to drive Galactus away from Earth, which didn't work out since the Surfer is greatly underpowered in comparison. And this eventually led to Galactus removing the Silver Surfer's space-time powers. Since the Surfer would no longer be his herald anymore, Galactus saw no need for the Surfer to have the ability to roam the galaxies. But perhaps what this issue was most well known for was the Watcher's plan to send Johnny to the other side of the universe to retrieve the Ultimate Nullifier, which is a device that has deleted empires and is capable of erasing the entire universe out of existence, as well as the person who's using it if they're not capable of locking in, because with a slight drift of the mind, the user could be nullified along with whoever or whatever they use it on. And at the time in Fantastic Four issue 50, this was what was used to deter Galactus. So it's heavily implied that in this universe, there were a lot of events that played out the same way that we saw them on Earth 616. So now with the Fantastic Four seeing the skies filled with fire, this reminds them of what they saw just before the Herald of Galactus arrived. But they know it's not the Silver Surfer since he no longer holds that position. So right away they're just like, this has to mean Galactus is back. And not just that, but he's also got a new herald. And this is where we see the new Herald of Galactus is now King Ghidorah with the power cosmic. And at first, the team doesn't really realize how cooked they are in this moment. And I mean, it's like they know they're outmatched, but they don't know by how far. At least not until Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer, shows up. And he just gives it to them straight. He's like, yeah, you guys don't have a chance. And neither do I. And the Surfer, he came here because he sensed a disturbance and to witness the coming of King Ghidorah, but also by using his cosmic senses, he's able to see King Ghidorah's memories and tell the Fantastic Four the story behind it becoming Galactus' new herald. Because the Surfer says here, my cosmic senses can scan the memories of this creature. It's an unspeakable destructive force, a being of pure malice, relishing only in death and chaos. In the moment Galactus encountered King Ghidorah, the last one left on the planet after the creature itself destroyed its own world, was also the moment Galactus found a herald capable of taking Earth. This creature now has one mission: to destroy we who defend this world, so that Galactus can consume our planet unopposed. So after hearing this, Sue suggests that the Surfer takes on King Ghidorah, but once again the Surfer's like, nah, that's not gonna work, because he tells her no, the unbridled power of this herald is leagues above my own. It would destroy me as easily as it will you. And right there, when Ben and Johnny are like, we can't give up, we can work together, we can do this. And it's right here where the Surfer takes the together part that Johnny mentions. And he's like, perhaps we can get through this if I share my power cosmic. So right there, Ben's like, yeah, that's more like it. You make me cosmic and we'll team up. And the Surfer just continues to float right past him while saying, no, you misunderstand. We are not the right people for this fight. We cannot take down King Ghidorah, but Godzilla might. As the Silver Surfer makes his way to Godzilla and gives him all of his power. And even with this being an excruciating task for the Surfer to do, just before he's done, he describes this as an extraordinary act of trust, because with doing this, he has no guarantee that Godzilla will fight on their side, or let alone pull it off. But given the circumstances, Cosmic Godzilla is their best chance. And I gotta say, there's a moment here where amongst the wreckage, where you can see this building that has a sign that says Matt's Kaiju Exterminating Service, which I believe is a bit of a nod to Matt Frank, who's done a ton of Godzilla and other Kaiju art over the years, so it's pretty cool to see. But as Cosmic Godzilla faces off with the Herald of Galactus, King Ghidorah, Godzilla leads with his heat ray, only for Ghidorah to just kind of shake it off, just before coming right back with the gravity beams, which Cosmic Godzilla doesn't shake off too well. And when the Fantastic Four sees this, they're just like, oh, Godzilla's losing, so we gotta jump in and help him out. While Norrin Radd's just kind of in the background with his head down, and when the team jumps in to help, Johnny makes sure to tell Godzilla like, hey, we're on your side, big guy. So it's like he's trying to make sure Godzilla knows they're fighting with him, not against him. And the big guy picks up on that pretty quick. And now with Johnny firing alongside with Godzilla, this is where we start to see King Ghidorah get taken back. And when Reed slingshots Ben, which I'm pretty sure is their first time trying this on this Earth, and it turns out to be a maneuver that works very well here too. And with all these attacks combined, together they manage to knock King Ghidorah back. But the longer this fight goes, the more of New York is getting destroyed. So the Fantastic Four's got to come up with something to end this quick. So when they regroup, they end up putting together a plan, which is basically to distract King Ghidorah long enough so that Godzilla can get in an unexpected hit. But with the creature having cosmic awareness, that makes it pretty tricky, because it's not like they can go invisible and it wouldn't know where they were. And so with Reed noticing that the creature demonstrates moments of being distracted, Sue suggests that she tries her experiment with Ben. And it's basically a scenario where, because Sue's able to make things invisible by bending the light around them, instead of using this to make something or someone invisible, the plan or her experiment would be essentially to use her power to bend light and project a huge hologram. and that's what she ends up doing with Ben. So while he appears to be giant-sized, this hologram would just mimic his every move. And when they go for it, it takes all 4 of them to pull it off. But it ends up working and getting King Ghidorah's attention. But even still, it's funny how they put all of this together. Because first you have Reed, who's providing a platform so Sue and Ben can get in position. Ben's doing the motion capture, if you will. Sue's providing the projection. And Johnny's just flying around imitating Ben's voice. And as you can imagine, this huge projection is a lot of stress on Sue, especially with everything that's happened up to this point, so it's not like she can hold this up forever. And fortunately, she doesn't have to for too long, because right after King Ghidorah goes for the fake thing, it's soon after attacked by something very real and new coming from Cosmic Godzilla. Because we're told here, behind King Ghidorah, Godzilla blends his heat ray and power cosmic together, forging a weapon with power enough to kill the gods. And in one terrible moment, Godzilla unleashes it all at his 3-headed foe. And thus, Earth's found its salvation in the efforts of 4 remarkable heroes and in a monstrous creature named Godzilla. And following this, we get a look at Reed making a research log entry, where he puts together what he believes has taken place here and what this could possibly mean down the line, with him saying, "Read research log supplemental. We are in a state of rebuilding. Godzilla managed to knock the power cosmic out of King Ghidorah, freeing the 3-headed creature from Galactus' control. It then returned to space to voyage back to its own world to follow some agenda of its own. It is, as yet, impossible to say. For its part, Godzilla returned to the ocean, and perhaps unexpectedly surrendered the power cosmic back to the Silver Surfer. I can, however, draw conclusions from known data. We know Galactus is still out there somewhere, and we know he has designs on devouring this world. His herald failed, so we must presume we've at least bought ourselves some time before he returns again. But as we've learned, it may take a monster to stop a monster. A Godzilla versus Galactus battle now seems inevitable, and if it is, can any of us hope to survive it? So yeah, with how this ends, it's implied that we may get a version of that at some point down the line. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of my Godzilla vs. Marvel coverage, I got a link to the full playlist in the description where we cover the series of one-shots that pick up every 10 years, with Godzilla vs. Hulk for the 70s, Spider-Man for the 80s, X-Men for the 90s, with the Godzilla vs. Avengers issue coming up after that. And with that said, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you think we're going to get that Godzilla vs. Galactus matchup at some point in the near future. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.